40,000 years ago, the Earth was not ruled by cities, not by kings, not by nations. It was ruled by ice, hunger, and death. Two different human species walked this frozen world. One was already fading into extinction. The other was about to take over the planet. And when they met for the first time, history changed forever. This is not a myth. This is not fiction. This is the real story of the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens.
Around 400,000 years ago, during the peak of the Great Ice Age, the land we now call Europe was buried under endless layers of snow and ice. The air was sharp and deadly. Temperatures remained far below freezing throughout the year. Survival was not a challenge. It was a constant war. In this frozen world lived a powerful human species known today as the Neanderthals. They were born across Europe and Western Asia. Their bodies were short, muscular, and immensely strong. Their structure was designed to conserve heat. Neanderthal men stood around 164 centimeters tall, and women slightly shorter. Their wide noses warmed the air before it entered their lungs. Their chests were deep and strong. Every aspect of their body carried the signature of survival in extreme cold. A small group of Neanderthals moved slowly across the snowy plain in search of food. Hunger had weakened them. For days they had eaten nothing. Every step through the snow demanded energy they barely had left. Their eyes scanned the white horizon constantly. Then, in the distance, they saw movement. A herd of reindeer grazed near a frozen sloop. The group immediately dropped low. No one spoke. The leader raised his hand. The hunters spread out slowly, surrounding the herd from multiple sides. They knew reindeer were fast. One mistake would mean starvation. At the moment the distance closed, one of them charged. The others followed instantly. Stones flew through the air. Wooden spears struck muscle and bone. Within moments, one massive reindeer collapsed into the snow. The herd disappeared into the storm. The group had its food. They carried the heavy body back to their cave. Their people waited inside, exhausted and trembling from the cold. When the hunters arrived with the kill, relief spread through the group. That night, they ate. For the first time in days, their stomachs were full. Outside the cave, the storm worsened. Snow fell without rest. Wind screamed through the mountains. By morning, the cave entrance was completely sealed. Thick snow blocked every opening. Inside, the air slowly grew heavy. Breathing became difficult. A sense of suffocation crept through the group. An elderly Neanderthal woke gasping for air. He struggled to breathe and immediately alerted the others. Panic spread. They used their bare hands, striking the ice desperately. Their fingers bled. Their lungs burned. Time was vanishing. Finally, a small crack formed in the barrier. A cold rush of fresh air poured in. They inhaled deeply. One by one, they widened the opening. After long struggle, the cave entrance finally opened. They had escaped death once again. As they stepped outside, the storm had weakened, but danger was waiting. Two massive saber-toothed tigers emerged from the snowfall. Their fangs were longer than any knife. One tiger leapt instantly and seized a small child before anyone could react. The other attacked a woman, wounding her deeply and dragging her across the snow. The hunters chased the predators into the storm, but the blizzard swallowed everything. The child was gone. The woman never returned. The group stood frozen in silence. Survival had demanded another sacrifice. Days later, while searching for shelter, the group encountered one of the saber-toothed tigers again. This time, they were ready. With stones and wooden clubs, they attacked without fear. Blows rained down until the predator collapsed. They killed it and carried what meat they could. The snow never stopped. Each night, the cold became more brutal. Two elderly members of the group went to sleep and never woke again. Their bodies lay frozen by morning. There was no strength left to mourning. The living had to move forward. Driven by desperation, they attempted to hunt a massive mammoth. It was a dangerous gamble. The animal was enormous, powerful, and protected by thick fur and muscle. The group attacked with every weapon they had. Stones struck its head, spears struck its legs, but the mammoth crushed 2 hunters beneath its feet and escaped. The group stood in defeat. Hunger returned. Their numbers were shrinking. Their strength was fading. Then, beyond a snow-covered ridge, they saw a dark shape frozen into the ground. A deer lay buried under thick ice, preserved by the cold itself. They broke the ice with stones and freed the frozen body. That deer fed them for days and saved them from extinction. Thousands of years passed. Slowly, Neanderthal minds began to grow sharper. One night, lightning struck a tree near their shelter. Flames burst into darkness. At first, they ran from it in fear, but one of them stepped forward. He felt the heat against his skin. Pain followed, but also warmth, life. From that moment forward, fire became their greatest discovery. They learned how to protect it, how to feed it with wood, how to carry it. Fire warmed their frozen nights. It scared away predators. It hardened spear tips. It cooked meat, making it easier to digest and safer to eat. With fire, their intelligence expanded. They shaped stones into sharper blades. They carved needles from bone. They stitched thick animal hides together to form clothing. They planned their hunts carefully. They surrounded mammoths. They drove prey into traps. Together, they brought down giants. Around their fires, they began to speak more, to gesture, to feel. They marked their bodies with natural colors. They buried their dead with tools and food. This was not only survival anymore. This was culture. While this was happening in the frozen north, another story was unfolding far to the south. Around 45,000 years ago, in Africa, rivers began to dry up. The land grew harsh. Food became rare. A new human species was forced to move. They were Homo sapiens. A small group of around 30 to 35 individuals left their homeland. They crossed burning deserts. They faced lions and leopards in the darkness. They built fragile rafts and crossed the narrow waters of the Red Sea. Some were lost to the waves, but the rest reached new lands. They traveled through Arabia. They moved into what is now Turkey. Step by step, they entered colder lands they had never known. Their thin bodies were not built for snow. People began to freeze. Hair turned white with frost. Breath became painful. One night, they discovered a cave and made fire inside it. For the first time in days, they slept without fear. But deep within the cave, another life had been waiting. A massive cave bear emerged from the darkness and attacked. One man fell beneath its weight. The others drove burning spears into the animal. It fell dead. The group survived, but the cave became a place of fear. Days later, while searching for food beyond the cave, they saw shapes moving through the snow. Broad faces, strong bodies, thick fur clothing. It was another kind of human. They were Neanderthals. Both groups froze in fear. Hours passed with silent observation. No one moved. Hunger, cold, and curiosity slowly dissolved fear. A Neanderthal stepped forward, holding cooked meat. A Homo sapien answered with dried berries. This exchange marked the first peaceful meeting between two human species in history. That very night, wolves attacked their shelter. Neanderthals raised burning torches. Homo sapiens formed a defensive line with spears. Together, they drove the predators away. From that night onward, the two species began to live side by side. Knowledge was shared without words. Neanderthals taught the art of surviving in extreme cold.
They showed how to stitch thick furs with bone needles. Homo sapiens taught how to create sharper stone blades and longer-range weapons. Before long, relationships formed. Neanderthal women and Homo sapiens men had children.
Those children carried the strength of the Neanderthals and the adaptability of Homo sapiens. Even today, 1 to 2% of the DNA in every European and Asian human still comes from Neanderthals. For thousands of years, the two species hunted together. They created settlements in caves and mountains. They painted animals on cave walls. They buried their dead with ritual. Fire burned in every storm. But slowly, the Neanderthal numbers began to shrink. Changing climate, new diseases, and growing competition weakened them. Generation after generation, their population declined, until one day only a few remained. The last known Neanderthal sat alone in the snow. His people were gone. A Homo sapien placed burning coal into his hands for warmth. And with that moment, one human species faded forever. The Neanderthals disappeared from the Earth around 40,000 years ago, but they did not vanish completely. They live on in our blood, in our strength, in our survival instincts. Modern humanity was not born from one species alone. It was shaped by two, and their meeting in the frozen world changed the story of life forever. You are not just watching history. You are history. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment what part shocked you the most, because your blood carries a story older than civilization. Thank you for watching.